okay? Try not to offer your own opinion during the interview. Display approval or disapproval through tones and voice or body language, as I just mentioned. Don't discuss your own experiences at the resort. If somebody's asking you for questions like, where should I go for dinner, or where's the powder stash, or where should I go, say, just politely tell them, I'd be happy to answer all your questions after we finish the interview, but politely, let's get through the survey, and then I'll be happy to talk with you and give you some pointers and secrets where to go, the best places to go. You should read the questions as written on the survey if you're doing it face-to-face, and not paraphrase or have your own interpretation of the question. Again, if we have 20 people asking the question 20 different ways, we might have 20 different answers. So it's just another way of standardizing the process systematically from interviewer to interviewer and from resort to resort. Okay? Achieving an accurate sample, you should select the respondent. They should not select you for a survey, as we were just talking about. Again, if the person, you do the counting procedure and you land on the husband, but the wife wants to take the survey, again, politely tell them I've selected him to take the survey. I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards and collect your input. A lot of resorts also like comment cards that they can collect feedback from if they have a burning issue that somebody else wants to provide outside of the survey, and that's essentially it.
Just way to get around. Instead of telling her no, just do a different one with her after you're done with him.
Yeah, and that's okay in some cases as well. Again, if you have to do another survey with that person next to it, that's fine. In the whole mix of things, it's not going to affect the larger sample at the end of the day. That happens, every once in a blue moon, every once in a while. Incentives we were just talking about. Again, there's a Rosenau ski or snowboard package that Ski Utah offers for participation, and then most resorts offer something else, like a coupon for a drink or a ski pin or a granola bar or a lip balm, something like that, and that helps. Incentives are great for increasing participation, helps soften the atmosphere. It encourages people to participate in the survey that might not otherwise participate in the survey, even if it's a small token of appreciation like that, and it goes a long way for making a better quality sample. We also have Ski Utah, for the people that we've hired, we've been giving out these little the Yeti stickers as well, and people love those. And if I can see if I can get some of those from Raylene.
That'd be great.
If you want some of those as well. People seem to love those. Anyway, and again, I've been harping on this, but just having standardized interviewing procedures from person to person, from resort to resort, goes a long way to ensuring data quality and comparability and integrity. And again, we would just ask that you check and recheck the survey process throughout the course of the season, just to make sure that quality control checks are in place. It's easy once you get busier, once the season drags on, to maybe let your guard go down a little bit. So just trying to maintain that throughout the course of the season is important. Reducing sampling bias is, it's almost impossible, but recognizing that some does creep into the program is important in interpreting the results. Again, ensuring that every person has an equal probability of being selected for a survey is important. The counting procedure, counting fifth. If it's slow, you still need to institute some kind of counting mechanism, whether it's counting 3. If it's a slow day, for example, but as long as you have a system in place, that's all that counts. That's the main thing. That's the important thing. Again, selecting the person the right one time, the person on the left next time is another mechanism for stirring that pot and mixing it up, so that you don't become always going to the right, which introduces a form of bias subconsciously, believe it or not. Don't leave in surveys out for people to take the survey that we talked about. And then there's some non-random mistakes like concessions to convenience or ease. For example, somebody sitting down is probably an easier target than somebody that might be walking towards the lift, for example. But if that's the person you've identified through your counting procedure, the person walking, you should select them for the survey, even though the person sitting there is an easy target, right? Makes sense? And then just, again, it's human nature. Everyone has their own quirks, but you know, you might be gravitate towards interesting or friendly people or friendly faces. You may have that tendency. They seem approachable and easy to take a survey, and you might feel you know, you're trying to avoid difficult or unfriendly people. But you should, again, everyone has an equal chance of being selected for a survey. So interesting people, you might gravitate towards these people, and some of these you might shy away from these, but we want to talk to these people too.
It's like some
Okay.
Warren Miller vintage footage.
It'd be great to talk to.
It would, yeah, see? So I've been, people earlier said, these look like the interesting people, so we want to talk to. So anyway, the point is we want to talk to everybody regardless of what they look like or what they're doing or what their habits might be on that particular day, okay?
It's the same gold pants you have, isn't it, Gary?
Oh, I know chartreuse, come on. But she's got a future behind her.
Yeah, that's right.
Great technique. Okay, so next step, sampling plan and survey quotas. So another important way to reduce bias and ensuring an accurate sample is to develop a rigorous and structured sampling plan, also called a sample frame. And again, that involves developing a understanding of how customers are distributed throughout the resort on the different lifts, whether it's, you know, a certain proportion or advanced lifts, intermediate lifts, beginner lifts. You would generally proportion the number of surveys that you're doing based on that mix of lift types and pods of the mountain based on terrain. Same goes with the restaurants. If one restaurant does twice as much volume as another restaurant, you would do twice as many surveys there as the other restaurant, for example. Some resorts take it to an extreme in developing a plan with, I've seen massive spreadsheets that people plugged in, have all their lifts, their restaurants, they know what the volumes are, by day of the week, weekend versus weekday, and really have a plugged in, detailed plan on where they should be doing surveys. So
I didn't go that far.
okay, that's fun. That's a little.
How busy is the tram club?
All right. And then let's see here.
You're thirsty, by Gary.
And then if you had night skiing, which you don't, you would take that into consideration as well. You do some surveys at night, which we do also do at Brighton, actually. These next few slides, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. I basically just described it, so how you would develop a sophisticated or not sampling plan based on how many skier visits you're doing, what your volumes are by weekday versus weekend, holidays, how many days of operation you have, what your cafeteria mix is, what the chair distribution is by intermediate, advanced, beginner terrain that it serves, what your survey quotas are, and then you would come up with a spreadsheet that would tell you basically what your sampling distribution should be throughout the course of the season. Yeah, it's just one example. Some other considerations, you may not need to survey every single day to get your survey quotas. 3 to 5 days is probably adequate to get the number of surveys that you need to get done. You might mix up the surveys at different locations on any given day, so you don't need to go all locations on every survey day. You might do 2 or 3 locations on this day, and then tomorrow you might go to 2 or 3 other locations and mix it up that way. You might need to make one-time adjustments, such as if you're having a special event or a race or something like that. You may want to increase, if there's a lot of people in the base, if there's a concert or something like that afterwards, you may want to, target to hit some of those people, just for those one-time or a couple-time events that you have during the course of the season. And overall, the specifics of the sampling plan, they're not as important or as critical as the fact that you actually have a plan in place. And you have a strategy and you have an idea in your mind how you're gonna approach this throughout the course of the season versus just winging it day after day, week after week, and not having a plan, okay? That make sense? For Ski Utah, as we mentioned, the goal of 6,000 for the season statewide. There's a calendar in the back that basically has the quotas by resort. Which I think is on this next slide also, but this is a bigger version. And for Snowbird, we're targeting, just for the Ski Utah survey, 500 completes for the season. And you guys always blow that out of the water for the most part, and if we combine the NSA, we'll have more than enough.
So how many of the Ski Utah are they gonna be doing this year?
500?
No, I mean,
Oh,
each, I mean, well.
We are going to try to do the Ski Utah only, maybe get a couple thousand of them, and then extrapolate out the NSAA data to fulfill that requirement. So we'll be doing one survey, but filling the needs of two, and in Ski Utah, instead of doing, I can't read the number.
500?
Yeah, instead of 500.
And all of Utah's doing 5,000?
Yeah.
That's typical.
No, because when I was, the other day, I was up in Watson, something from out, I did a paper survey at Alton. And I said, how many do you have to do? And they
Of the
said,
NSAA?
Yeah.
Of the Ski Utah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said, I don't know, 10 or 12 each person or whatever.
Mhm.
I apologize if I missed this in the beginning, I probably did, because you keep referring to it as if we should know, but the NSAA, who's requiring that? Is Snowbird wanting to
So
participate in that,
it's-
or is the
Yes.
federal government
No.
requiring?
No.
National-
Snowbird wants to.
IRS.
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 Oh, no.
So, yeah, so let me back up on that. So the NSA demographic survey is a survey that NSA sponsors. It's free to all resorts in the United States.
The data is
They want,
free.
it's, pardon me?
The data they collect is free. That's
Right,
not
it's free
free.
to, right, otherwise versus like